person there.
Is there we only have
I think 10 Goliath is the only one here. He says, okay, I either get the chat or the video, but not both. And I told him we're not live yet, so he might just be in there for the chat.
Okay. I didn't. I have to retweet. I meant to do that.
Tweet something out myself.
Yeah.
I'll give the room some time to populate everybody to get here to react to.
If you tweet, I'll retweet you.
Yeah, I guess I'll do it from our account.
I'll do it from your thing. Your thingy. Hello, everybody. Hi, Doug. Hi, Eva. Hey, Chuck. Happy birthday. Happy night before your birthday. Hello, Tin Goliath. What's up, Brian? Hey, Allie. How are you? Winona. Hi. Hi.
Pax is even saying hi back there.
No, that's
Loki.
Oh, yeah, it's Luke. He never shuts the fuck up. Hey, Alexa. Me Gates. Yeah, Loki's got something to say about everything, even air. It's like, look, it's air. I must bark.
That's funny. All right, I just tweeted that out.
Okay, I'll retweet you.
Again, thank you everybody for coming by the show.
And
Ava,
Crystals.
Drunk
Hey, Drunk Christy, what's up? And if you guys want to share that we're going live, that would be freaking fantastic. Thank you.
G in the chat.
Yep. Retweet. All right, sure. we are live. We are live.
Welcome.
Welcome. Oh,
she's wanting to know: does Loki bark at crystals?
Dude, he'll bark at anything. Anything. Sometimes I have to open the door out there and just let him look so that he sees there's nothing there. And he's like, yeah, but there's a leaf, and that leaf was going to rob the house. So thank you. You're welcome. Yeah. So there you go. That's what I get.
That sounds like an exciting day for you. So we have a fun and exciting episode planned for the followers, the watchers, the listeners. As I tweeted out, we will be April's going to try to tackle all of your questions, comments, concerns, your problems, any life problems. She's going to put them in a headlock, maybe a chin lock.
We're going to solve the world's problems tonight, people.
With headlocks.
Give me what you got. Give me what you got. We'll take a stab at it.
All right. So that's what we got in store for the show, plus some other things. April always has some great topics.
No, we're gonna talk about domestic abuse on the male side, where the men are the victims, because this happens a lot and they don't talk about it. They don't report it. It's not a thing until it's a thing. So we're gonna discuss that. We'll talk about. Let's see if we can solve some of your problems and questions, and we'll have like a group think too. Maybe if I can't figure something out, maybe somebody else has experience with something, and we can all kind of contribute there. And
maybe Jamie shows up with some rum.
Maybe
that'll solve all our problems.
Maybe this will take some rum, some edibles. So we'll be going live. Hey Wolf, what's up? How are you doing?
Let me make sure I get.
You hate me? What do you hate me for, Alexa? What'd I do now?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, hit me with your best shot. That was my first album I ever bought. So Pat Benatar. It was $8. I remember $8 of my allowance. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money, but it is Pat Benatar. Hell is for children.
My first concert was going to see the Bangles when Walk Like Egyptian was like the hottest song in existence.
Yeah, I know, that was a good song. I can see it.
Well, are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Everybody ready?
Let's do it. Hey everybody. Welcome to the A Show, where smart is the new sexy. I'm April Hunter, your host, and my co-host is Colin Wysong. He's pretty funny. Get to know him. So tonight we are going to be talking. We're going to be talking about your problems. You tell me your problems, and we'll see if I can help you solve them. And if I can't, maybe we'll have a group think, and everybody can kind of contribute. Also, if you have any questions, like Q&A, we will do that. And we're also going to talk about, since it's a hot topic right now, domestic abuse, but where men are the victims, because apparently this is something that happens a lot, and it's not really talked about until it's actually a thing. So we'll discuss that and what to do in those cases. So what should we tackle first, Colin?
I don't know. I think with it being topical with the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, trial going on, I think we could
Hit that
definitely
one.
get into the male abuse and things like that.
So it's interesting that people seem shocked in a way that this is happening. It really pissed me off that Johnny Depp. No, I'll full disclosure. I'm not following it. I don't know what's going on. I'm not much of a gossip celebrity person at all. But I understand Depp had his contracts pulled. It was like a guilty before proven innocent kind of thing. That pisses me off. That would piss me off on any level, but that really pisses me off right here, because that is complete. That's assumption.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just gender discrimination, but it's an assumption. And we are a country where you are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So why would they do that?
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, why would they do that?
Well, they do that with a lot of different things too. So it's not just. I mean, usually with a lot of the sexual allegations that come up, it's usually you're guilty first before we figure out what the facts are in a lot of these situations. And then it comes out that, and I'm not saying most of them, but then you hear about, it gets swept under the rug that, yeah, maybe she wasn't telling the truth, or maybe it was the opposite way.
Well, maybe we're not doing it right. Maybe we should just keep quiet about things until it's figured out which way things are going, instead of just freaking out and having a, you know what I'm saying, disrupting somebody's life, and they're going through something already, and then you're going to drop everything that they're associated with.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
So what's interesting to me is every guy I basically know has been abused by a woman at some point in his life. Like everyone, from my brother to my ex, or actually several exes. And so my brother was married to this lovely woman who was extremely abusive. And I believe she tried to kill him. And he still has her teeth marks on his arm, because she bit him that hard that she left her teeth in there. Yeah, and I believe the reason he stayed was because divorce was expensive, and the kids, and hey, Fred, hey, War Demon, hello to everybody, Mr. Tiny Corn Dog, I love your little doggies. It's hard to leave when you have kids and so much money involved, and so I can see that, but it's also when abuse is the way children grow up, they go on to think that that's normal. That's how you solve conflicts.
Yep.
So I grew up in an abusive household. So when this stuff happened to me, I thought it was normal to get the shit beat out of me, because that's just like how it is, right? You have to be completely deprogrammed that, no, that is not normal. That's not what happens. So I asked one of my friends, I said, when guys are abused, why do they not come forward? Why do they stay?
Mm-hmm.
And his short answer is the sex. And I thought
that, yeah.
Yeah, because I always make a joke, nothing fucks like crazy.
Well, and I've seen that the opposite way for the women and the men. I lived in a small military town, and a lot of the good girls had good jobs, but they were attached with the guy that barely graduated high school, if he graduated high school, trying to make it on his own. But all he can do is he loses his job every other month. He's always on a new job, always on and they stick with him.
Mm-hmm.
and they're loyal to him, and it's probably because the sex is so great. April, that's all it has to do with it.
Mm. It's kind of insane. I had another ex whom I'm still, good friends,
See, that's
and
a good point too. It could be the pride, but
I, yeah, I think a lot of times the men don't want to come forward because they feel like it's a pussy thing to do to
Mhm.
report a woman, because it's like, I'm a dude, I'm getting hit by a woman, I should be able to handle it. So, people are going to think less of me. Or if you're getting sexually assaulted, same thing. I shouldn't, no one's going to believe me.
Well,
So,
it could also be in those situations where they have the woman that is hitting them, and they're just gonna let it happen, right? Like it sucks that it's the whole taking the high road of I'm not gonna hit a woman. There's a lot of people that believe if a woman's gonna hit you like a man, then you hit them back. But there's other people that are just gonna hold their hands behind their back and just take it and just continue to take it until she's just letting it out. Just let her get her frustrations out.
and what happens when she kills him?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Yeah, like Eva says, we're all conditioned to keep things quiet, and what happens in a marriage stays in a marriage. So that is kind of where, yeah, kind of where we are. So my friend, or my ex, or whatever you want to call him, his ex-wife has borderline personality disorder, which is what allegedly Amber Heard was diagnosed with, and
Hmm.
histrionic personality disorder, which are two fairly complicated, and they can be dangerous disorders. So his ex got upset with him. They were in a bar. She viewed something a certain way, which he didn't understand why. And when she went to get the car, she decided to run him over, and she shattered his ankle. She ran him over and shattered his ankle. He used to be a runner. He's not anymore. Here's the best part. He was a cop. He's a deputy.
Oh, so now you just hit a cop. That's even
Huh?
worse of a violation.
That's why he didn't report it, because he was afraid he was going to look like a pussy.
Oh my goodness.
Right. So eventually,
I mean, she used the car. How can you I wouldn't make fun
she
of the
didn't use
guy.
the cop. No, she used his car.
No, I know, but I'm saying like she hit me with a car. That's a little worse than like the girl hitting you
I
kind of
said, "What
thing,
did you
right?
say when you went to the hospital?" Like, "Oh, we told them that I fell."
That's the
So
classic. Yeah,
yeah, I
the
fell. I
door
fell.
hit
I
me.
tripped. I fell. I was drinking. Whatever. So I asked him. I said, "So what eventually happened?" Eventually, people at work started noticing, and eventually, people at work were the ones to serve her with the restraining order. So she ended up getting thrown out of the house.
Mhm.
Um, on they figured it out, but yeah, it was not a good situation.
That's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah, I guess it happens a lot,
But but I think too, there's that stigma where we think, okay, they're gonna make fun of me. But
Yep.
I've seen in a lot of those situations, they help first. Right? Like, if you're close with somebody, you're gonna help them first. Then if, like, they're your coworker, they're your buddy, then you
Hmm.
might kinda make, like, a comment afterwards. Like, I've seen it before where certain thing happens with an employee or somebody that I know, and then, everything's okay with them, and then you might make slight a joke of it, or, like, you might pick on them about it, later on, like, "Hey, buddy, remember that time your wife ran you over," like, your girlfriend ran you over kinda thing? Like,
Yeah.
there's that little bit of nitpicking, but for the most part, a lot of times coworkers and people like that, they do wanna help you in those situations because they do care about you, as a person. Um, I've seen it in my own work life. Like, we had a guy who was getting grifted, by a lady at the bus stop,
Hmm.
and multiple people tried to step in. Nobody ever called the cops, and then finally the former general manager of the store basically called the lady one day in the parking lot. I was like, "Hey, if you keep grifting him and doing what you're doing to him, I will call the cops and I will get you arrested because he is a special needs person and you're like fully taking advantage of someone who is like special needs, and she stopped that moment in time. But it was very difficult for that employee to come forward and say, "Hey, like this is what he'd never had a girlfriend before. You know, he was so excited over like, oh, she's letting me, touch a titty and all this stuff, right? But she literally is like, hey, see that guy over there? Don't ever talk to him. Don't ever look at him. Don't ever. It's her freaking boyfriend. Like I'm your boyfriend. I'm your girlfriend, but don't talk to that guy because he's really the boyfriend. He's the one that she's running the money back to and all that stuff when she steals it from him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So Winona makes a good point. She says, I wonder if a lot of the reason people stay is because they can be the one to fix the other person.
Yeah. There's a lot of that too.
Yeah. I mean, I think most of us have been guilty of trying to fix people before. I know I have. And then Eva says, my cousin was pregnant and ran over her baby daddy with her car, broke his leg and left him in the parking lot. And her father paid him off to keep it quiet. So, wow. So here's a quick a quick thing on what to do if you are being abused. And a lot of times it's mental abuse too. And I mean, it's exactly the same for guys as it is for girls. And literally 50% of the abuse out there is coming from women and being inflicted on men. So it's definitely happening. And what is also considered abuse is withholding approval, appreciation, or affection as punishment, criticizing, name calling, taking away your car keys or your money, threatening or forcing to leave you on a regular basis, threatening to harm you or a member of your family. When they're angry, they can punish you by trying to keep your children away from you, threatening to kidnap your children if you leave, abusing or hurting your pets, threatening to take them, harassing you about about affairs your spouse imagines that you're having, manipulating you with lies and contradictions. That's also gaslighting. Breaking appliances, destroying furniture and punching holes in the wall, wielding a gun or a knife in a threatening way. And when upset, hitting, kicking, shoving, punching, biting, spitting, or throwing things. So obviously the best thing to do in this situation is to leave. And here's the hard part is that we're in a financial situation now where it's difficult in some areas to even find another place to go. And if you can find a place to go, it's hard to afford one. So that might take some planning. So if you can make a plan for that, that's, having a plan in place is helpful. Yeah. Obviously take precautions if you're living with a partner who might become violent. Be in preparation to flee immediately if you detect any warning signals. So have a go bag. So if you have to remain to protect your children, don't be afraid to call the police. So don't retaliate. What can happen is an abusive partner will invite you to retaliate so that they can have you arrested. So whatever you do, don't retaliate. They can also have you evicted from the home if you retaliate. So get evidence of the abuse, report all incidents to the cops, and get a copy of each police report. And here's the thing that actually got my ex in favor and got the ex-wife out of the house and got him custody of the children. He kept a diary of all the abuse, including the dates, the times, and he had some photographs of the injuries. So that was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, so I've actually been in a situation myself where I was living with someone and they threatened to call the cops and say that I had done things to them that I had not done and to their children, right? And this went over for like several weeks. And they went to the office to hey, I want to get him out of here, like I don't want him here anymore, kind of thing, right? And they were like, oh, have you tried to get get him the people at the office basically told her to go and get a restraining order against me, right? So she goes down to the courthouse, files a restraining order, says that basically her kids and her are in danger and all this other stuff, right? The judge does not sign it because the judge literally is like, I'm not signing an emergency because there's no danger here, right? And then so we get into another big fight later that night, right? And about 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, a knock comes on the door and it's a sheriff.
Hmm.
And he's like, "Hey, I just want you to know that you're being summoned for this." Um, and I'm like, "Bro, I have not done anything. I have proof that I have not done anything." Like, he's like, "Look, you never know how these things can go in court." He's like, just get out." He's like, "Just leave the city. If you've done nothing wrong," he's like, "just leave. Just get out." He's like, "That's probably best for both parties in this situation." And he was just get out. Now, I was very upset that the office basically had no clue of what was going on between us and basically told her to go get a restraining order.
Hmm.
Like they had some part in me almost getting kicked out of a house that I was on the lease on
Yep.
because she basically was like, "I can't get him off the lease. What do I need to do?" And they're like, "Oh, get a restraining order." So she filed a false police report and all these
Yep.
other things and was going to lie to the cops
Yeah.
to just get me out of the house.
And they'll automatically side with the woman almost always. So, I've had the opposite happen where somebody's tried to have me taken out of my own house, and they got me out for 32 days until the judge just threw it out. He's just like, "Oh, what, are you kidding me?"
Yep. And
But
she held it over me until the final day that like we were going to court. Like literally, April, I got up, I called the courthouse just to double check because she told me the day of. She's like, "Oh, I dropped it, right?" I'd literally gotten up, was getting in the car to drive 30 minutes to go to court. And when she texted me that as I'm getting in the car, I'm like, "Let me go ahead and call the clerk, the clerk of the court, right? Just to make sure." And I called them and they said, "Yeah, everything had been dropped." Like she waited till the last minute, April,
wow.
after she already said she was going to drop it like weeks earlier. Like when she came back and like literally the next day, she apologized for everything after the cop came. And she's like, "I'll get rid of it. I'll drop it." But she kept it as a bargaining chip to make sure that I would get out and find a place to go.
You got to wonder sometimes how you get from here to here in a relationship. So Jamie said, controlling a person's finances is also abuse and
Yep.
control. Good point. Somebody also sent me a story that from earlier that I can.
Cam here says, "Don't ask him. He's going to get high with strippers. He's in no position to give anyone advice." so Cam is out there living his best life.
He might be in every position to give somebody advice. He's living a real life. So, yeah, Dark Links, and he sent me which I'm just going by everybody's name in the chat. So he sent me a story. He said he dated a girl for about a year. During that time, we both got new jobs and we never saw each other for days on end. I was a young guy, about 24. I didn't think it was fair to be in a relationship that we didn't see each other. So one of the few days we had off together, I stopped by her place to see her, and I explained that I wasn't looming, maybe it was a voice thing, to break up our friendship. I just thought, as young as she was and attractive, she needed a chance to meet other people. I was too busy working and training for the cage, so I was not seeing anyone else. She stepped out of the room for a minute and came back, and I asked if she was okay. She told me yes, and that she just wanted to be left alone. I said, okay, and I went to leave, and then she said, "We are not breaking up." And I turned around to face a snub-nosed .38 revolver. She fired. I jumped, and it hit me in the thigh. After many years, I think she planned on shooting me in the man regions, but between the loud pop and me moving, it hit me in the thigh instead. The cops were called by my neighbor. She was arrested, but I didn't press charges. I just wanted to get away from her. She got a misdemeanor charge of discharging a weapon, and I got a moving van while she was inside, moved my stuff out of her place. I put her stuff back from my place, and then I left the state.
That's probably smart. Yeah, let me go ahead and just disappear so you have no clue where I'm at.
Wow. She took that breakup pretty bad then, huh?
That's what that sounds like.
Yeah. Wow. I see what you mean about taking the bullet. The police will believe you then. Holy shit. So I guess we could some things are how you look at it, right? Yeah. So we could turn that story around and say, congratulations on keeping your penis.
There you go. Allie has some good Good
Never
advice.
stick your dick in crazy. Well, you know what though? That's usually the most fun to fuck.
And then you might get shot, April, in the thigh or
I
your
know, but
genitals.
it makes you feel
Or
alive, man.
next thing you know, your wife is driving down the road and throwing your dick out the window like John Bobbitt.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. No kidding, right? Here's what we aim for in life. Here it is. I figured it out. Okay. You want a healthy relationship with unhealthy relationship sex. Boom. That's what you want.
That's a clip right there. We're gonna clip that out later.
Yep. Yeah, if you can find that, you tie that shit down. Especially if you can get along with them really well outside of the bedroom.
Put a ring on it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard that first. Well, Ava said clone the fucker too. You have a backup.
There you go.
And then
So-
Dark Link says he is proud he kept his penis. Now
I am happy for your penis and for you.
that's a lucky shot though, because there's some arteries and stuff right there in the hip and the thighs and things.
There are some major arteries. There are some major arteries. So I wanted to first off, I want to take a minute to say thank you to everybody who is in here tonight. Thanks so much. Thank you to everyone who is a subscriber and one of our Patreon. Thank you for our Patreon people. And thank you for throwing your bits. And I also wanted to say to Chuck, happy birthday to you. He's got the coolest birthday ever. He is on May the 4th. Be with you. So happy early birthday, a few hours early.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah. Happy.
Bits.
So Tin Goliath said, I remember when my ex-fiance and I were having an argument about her spending causing the electric bill to bounce and getting our power shut off when her folks were visiting. Her mom turned to me and warned if there's any hitting, she'd be calling the law. Huh. Nice to have an assumption, huh? So yeah, I think I think you guys do get the short end of the stick sometimes. And people are dicks in general, but there's a lot of assumptions made that men do have to put up with that shouldn't be. There's a lot of genderizing. Is this a word? This is probably not a word.
Probably, I think
gender assumption. So, and hopefully that will change a little bit. I don't think we're ever going to be equal because you just can't be. Women do things differently than men. Men do things differently than women. But to be able to understand each other and not have assumptions, that's, the purpose of an argument is not necessarily to win. It's to understand where the other person's coming from and to get them. So, yeah.
No,
that
makes a lot of sense.
So, yeah, I think that I don't think a man should be embarrassed or hesitant about reporting abuse. These days, women want equal rights, then report that shit. Report it. So, hey, Steve, welcome.
I think that's also, what makes us so different. And we need to understand that we are so different. But again, in society, they're trying to make, blur the line between men and women, even though there are so many differences between all of us. There are similarities, but for the most part, we're on the opposite ends of the spectrum. So we got to understand our differences to be able to.
Apparently we're not. The Ministry of Truth would argue that.
Sorry, disinformation.
Disinformation
here on
men can give birth through their penis. Duh.
I will say
we're changing it to chest feeding, okay?
I will say a lot of the hubbub over the leak that happened last night. We're not going to go too far into this topic, April, but I haven't heard anyone say anything about men's rights for an abortion. All I've heard is things about women's rights for an abortion. And I've just been taught recently that men can give birth too. So
right.
I need my equity for the men here. It's not all about the women in this.
Right. Personally, I feel like if you don't want to have a kid, you should be able to have an abortion until they're 18 years old. Go ahead. They irritate you, just be like, I'm taking you out.
I can take you back to the hospital.
That's right. I made you. I can get rid of you and
like
try
a room
again.
with a bunch of like 18-year-olds just in there. Yeah, my mom didn't want me. Yeah, my mom didn't want me either.
Oh my God.
I was always back talking and never cleaned my room. Yeah, me
Right.
too.
Yeah. Yep. She told me to take the trash out just one too many times, and I ignored her. I had to pause my game for this.
That's
So, mm,
I brought you into this world. I can take you out. Yep,
every
I've
father's
heard that a few
line.
times.
Yeah,
I've heard
every
that from my
father's
mom a
line.
few times.
Mm-hmm.
Drunk Chrissy with the bits.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hey, I'm wondering what's going on because allegedly that was a leaked document. And so what's actually going on in the background right now that everyone's up in arms about this leaked document from the Supreme Court? Pay attention to what's happening in the background right now. Because there's some shit going on that we're not supposed to see. So they're using this hand to keep you not looking at this hand. So keep an eye on the fine print back there to see what's actually happening right now. So
There's some economic news that's about to come out, and it
there
might not
is.
be too good
Yeah,
coming up here. So that could be the cover for
there
the
is.
fact that the economy is probably going to be crashed on Wednesday whenever the Fed meeting comes out. So let's
Yeah.
see how
Anytime
that
you
goes.
see some huge social issue, sorry, I didn't mean to punch the thing. Some huge, I know, Colin's like, my ear.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anytime you hear, so I got to stop talking with my hands. So, anytime you see some huge social issue, distraction thing that everybody's talking about, start looking behind that and see what's really going on. So
You're like Ricky Bobby. You're just like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
I don't. I gotta here, there, just so yeah, I knock everything over and it's too much. I watched the clip from last week that somebody put out. I'm doing this with my hand. I'm like, what is that? What am I doing? What am I doing there? So
Emphasis.
that's right.
Adding the extra
Like,
emphasis
I'm
on
doing
there.
this. I'm like, what am I doing the thing? Am I just dancing? So I don't know what the fuck was going on there.
You'll never know what you get here on the A show.
Oh my God.
That's right, Chuck. It is all smoke and mirrors.
Yep. We're going in a really weird way.
Never
We
let a
are
good crisis
never,
go to waste.
that's right. Every government knows you never let a good crisis go to waste. We are going in a really weird way.
Let's get back. What was the other topic that we had here?
We had, we want to hear your problems. So what is a problem you have that might need solving? So I might volunteer a Fenn's problem and see if anybody can come up with an answer. And in the meantime, you guys put your problems in there, no matter how weird or hard they are, put a problem in there and let's see if we can come up with an answer. So I had lots of problems this past month. Like my air conditioning died and I had to replace it. Then at the same time, somebody rehomed the puppy to me. And then the dryer broke and the refrigerator fan broke. And then my car had an oil leak. I'm not kidding you. It just kept going and going and going. Anything expensive broke. It just, like my vacuum broke, the pool filter thingy broke. I'm like, oh, when was stop? Please stop. Oh my God, please stop. I don't want to touch anything that's going to break. So that's been my month. So anyone who has ever sent me Amazon gift cards, thank you. Thank you. I have been so grateful. So here's what happened. I had a bunch of Amazon gift cards. This was something that you guys helped me with. So my hot water heater broke for the third time in 5 years. Ooh. So I had to get a new one because the old one, the people who made the old one, Bradford White, do not buy a Bradford White anything. Bradford White, you suck. So I bought a Bosch water heater because it was available on Amazon. So I used my gift cards toward the water heater and I got a break financially because of the fans. So thank you. That was really helpful.
That's really cool. Speaking of financial breaks, we actually have Marvelous Wolf is in the chat gifting subs.
Oh,
so
no
shout
way.
out to Marvelous Wolf for throwing some subs to some people. So pay attention in Twitch. He might have gifted you a sub for the channel.
Nice. We got gifts here.
April, we actually have our first problem if you want to tackle it.
All right, let's see what we got.
All right, Canada Spaceman. He wakes up with a boner every day. Is that a problem?
Is that a problem? Because I know people that don't wake up with a boner every day anymore, and they consider that
That's
the
a problem.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
I
you're
would.
gifted, Spaceman. You're
I would
gifted.
think that is, you're doing pretty good. I would think that is actually a solution,
It's true.
something to be jealous of. Keep that boner going. What do we got next? What do we got next?
War Demon says, funny how it happened when you got Loki, the corgi of mischief.
Yeah, the dog of mischief. No kidding.
Is that a problem in itself for you, the dog of mischief coming into your house?
It is, but he's here and he's very sweet. So I think he's here to stay, even though I keep playing around with the idea of rehoming him. So yeah. I feel like this whole boner thing is,
It's derailed the chat a little bit. Now,
right?
but you see, this is appropriate though, because you just recently had a photo shoot.
I did.
Where you bare it all.
Yes.
Now Winona says it's only a problem if it lasts for more than 4 hours.
If it lasts for more than 4 hours, you should have a celebration.
Here's a good one. All right. On a more serious note, we've got this one from Drunk Chrissy here. How do you tell family no when they want to give you stuff that you don't want?
Oh God. Sometimes I have found that the being honest in a really diplomatic way is the best way to do that. Can you give me an example? Like, is it like advice you don't want, or is it like cluttery shit you don't want, or like a dog? Like, what kind of stuff is it that you don't want? Is it like extra food?
Boxes of clothes here.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes it's just easier with family to take the shit and then leave it at a donation place, like, oh yeah, okay. But sometimes it's, best to say, hey, listen, I already have so much I'm dealing with right now. I can't take on anymore. And I appreciate you thinking of me and thinking of me first and giving me the crack at it first. But go ahead and give it to somebody else.
Chrissy said her stepmom gave her chins. I don't. China. There we go. I was like, how does that work?
I was like, I think
that would be your mom.
I was gonna say that might require some nip tuck. China. Okay, so you don't want the China? Because I mean, you could probably sell that, or put it in a thing. Nobody really wants China anymore. People don't even use their dining rooms, right?
True.
Yeah, that would be one of those things.
Ava said, box it and hide it.
So take up space. Why don't you just put it on Facebook Market? That's
a good spot. Yeah. I like it when family gives stuff because, like, my mom, she'll get furniture from her sister, and then usually my mom's like, "Hey, I've got this nice bedroom set or this dresser set for you," and I'm like, "Yes, free upgrades." And it's usually like older stuff, so it's like made of wood, like it's really good. Usually like nice older classic furniture, not the cheap stuff that you get from IKEA nowadays.
Yeah, I know. It's made of real material there.
It looks like Jamie is still having a problem. He says, and yet you guys sent me to Pornhub. It's free. You asked for free entertainment.
Yeah, right. So a friend of mine is having a weird issue where I'm gonna just throw this out there. And I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with anything like this. So she's keeping it quiet, so I'm not going to. She went and had some genetic testing done.
Okay.
To preemptively, just make sure everything's okay. And she came back with a failure. Her lady parts look like they're not going to be holding up in the long run. So both here and there. And her insurance sucks. So she's in a position where she makes too much money to get help, but not enough to, it's like right in the middle. And her insurance doesn't do much for preemptive work. They're kind of like, they only do something once it's already happened. Does anybody have any advice on that? Like how to get somewhere with something like that? Any suggestions?
Mm.
Because I know she's kind of looking around and scrambling and dealing with things. So, I mean, obviously, no one has a problem if there's a solution, right?
Yeah.
So, trying to find the solution for this has been ongoing.
Would it see, the only thing I can think of usually to skirt around the expensiveness of surgery in America is going to other countries. Like you hear about people going to the
Medical
Philippines and other
tourism.
thing for
Yeah.
dental work and things like that because it is a lot cheaper.
That
And
is,
getting
yeah.
over there in the travel, that's probably what you're going to spend the bulk of, and then the process. And of course you get to recover. Let's say you go over there for dental, you get your wisdom teeth taken out, you get to be in Thailand or the Philippines, and it's it's beautiful down there while you're recovering. So
Oh, I'm recovering on the beach with some, yeah. Actually, that's something we didn't consider. So I know South America, yeah, Mexico does a lot of medical tourism too.
because
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that are illegal here. I mean, even with the stem cell stuff, we've seen it with
Yeah.
professional wrestlers. They go to Germany, they go to
Go to
Brazil, they go down to
South America,
Mexico, a lot of those places to go get a
the
lot of
amount
that. I
they
mean, a
need.
lot of guys that probably went overseas and
Yeah,
got things
Nash.
done on their
Nash
neck.
went down to they won't do stem cell in your neck
Oh,
here.
really? Yeah, that's right.
At least they didn't then. And they weren't going to give Kevin enough stem cell to actually make a difference here in the United States. So he went to South America and got it done. They said it really kicked in about 6 months. He was happy with it.
That's crazy that you can just go to other countries and
Hmm.
get that fixed. That might be the next avenue I would say go with, April, is look at medical
Medical
tourism and see
tourism.
what
It never
countries you
even
can get
dawned on
that.
me to think about that. Okay. That's a thought.
Well, now
Yeah.
we've got one here from Canada, Spaceman. It's more of a question for you.
Okay.
Do you still wrestle? And when was the last time you were in the ring? Did you ever have problems with other talent trying to force themselves on you, such as dates, flirting, etc.?
I don't still wrestle. I'm just a little too beat up for it. The last time I was in the ring, I still do wrestling photo shoots, like customs. So I don't know if I consider that really wrestling. That's more like, you know. But last time I was in a ring was, I want to say, a 6-woman tag match with Shine. It might have been a Texas match right after that. I think it was right around the same time. But I'm going to say around 2014-ish, give or take a year. And did I ever have problems with talent trying to force themselves on me, such as dates, flirting, etc.? Yes, I have. It's funny. You consider it normal, and you don't realize till you get out of it. Like, it's kind of like an abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh God, that stuff wasn't normal. But yeah, I had a lot of problems with different things, different promoters. Like, the boys were usually okay. A lot of times it's the promoters that I had problems with. So the one, like Scotty Raven, he was a real problem. A real problem. I was on a tour with him for, I guess, 5 weeks overseas in Europe, and he was just relentless. I couldn't walk by him without him reaching out to, like, he would just go like this up my stomach and try and, he's like, oh, look at your abs. Like, he was horrible. I remember because I wouldn't pay any attention to him, he took the DVD player away from me that I had borrowed from Joe Legend so that I couldn't watch it anymore. And, of course, he's a veteran.
Yeah.
So you can't say anything or do anything. He's got more name value. So what are you going to?
Yeah, you have to kind of
You can't do anything. You can't say anything. But yeah, he was horrible. Horrible to deal with. Anytime I ever saw him on any other tour, I was like, I would just turn it down. I'm like, nah, no, not dealing with that again. I was actually supposed to be working with somebody recently, last month, for WrestleCon, and you probably missed this one, but that promoter sent me naked pictures of himself. So I ended up going to WrestleCon by myself. Me and a friend went, and we walked around and saw people, and then Jimmy Yang asked me to work his table on the second day.
That's cool. That's very cool.
So, yeah. So, yes, I have run into it multiple occasions. Those are just the first two that come to mind.
So So we do have some people that added some maybe some help for the question that you asked here. Tin Goliath says if her regular insurance will not cover it, perhaps an Aflac policy will help buffer the cost. That is what they advertise at least. Yeah, have you looked
Okay.
at other healthcare? Maybe she just gets a policy for 6 months until something kicks in, and then maybe she can do it that way. And then here, Winona says see if a doctor will write it off as a medical emergency. If they can document there is a high percentage of future medical issues, maybe they will do something. Prevention is cheaper in the long run for insurance.
Yeah, we did actually talk about that. I told him I said all about the coding. They've got to code it a certain way so that yeah. So these are all that one we did kind of bring up, but that is a really good idea to reiterate there.
Yeah, I had something similar when I first got insurance with a job I had a few years ago. The first time I went to the doctor, I was telling him about my migraines I was having a lot, and he was like, "Well, you're gonna have like we're gonna have to have about 6 months. You know, if you can keep a journal, but if you come in constantly and you're complaining about migraines, I can set this history in your medical records. Then we can go to the insurance company and show them, hey, he's got this history of migraines. Can we get him some help? Get him something right." They want he was like, "It's better off if we do it that way than you just come in here kind of day one and be like, hey, I have these migraines that I've been dealing with." He's like, they're more apt to do something if they see the history of it. But I never followed up because my sister-in-law was like, "Yeah, don't take any of the medications they give you for migraines."
Oh, really?
Yeah, she said one in particular. I think it was one that they were going to give me. I think it starts with an I. I'm not 100% sure. She was in kind of the insurance field and she saw a lot of cases and things that came across her desk that involved that medication and the side effects of that medication. So she was like, "Yeah, I wouldn't take that if you can."
You might look at a Topamax. That one's been around for a while.
Yeah, I think this one started with an I, but I can't right quite remember the name. Now we've got Torin
Hey,
Matagi here.
Torin. We're doing like a little Q&A. We're helping to solve problems
That is it
or
right
taking
there. Lori is
questions.
right. It is Imitrex.
Yeah, she's a nurse. She would know. She knows lots of things. So in the meantime, before if you guys have more questions, I saw something today that I thought was interesting. It was the theory that art is not supposed to portray life but basically evoke emotion. So a lot of people over the history of time have tried to censor artists,
Mhm.
and they're like basically they're disputing the ethics of art once again. Again, we have this Ministry of Truth thing happening. So everything's up for dispute now. And Oscar Wilde said there is no such thing as a moral or amoral book. It's either written well or it's written badly. Period. End. So basically, it's like people consume art for pleasure or for emotion. And if you are a good artist, you can make something that is for pleasure and evokes an emotion. I think that would define a successful artist. So do we feel that artists have a ethical or moral obligation to be good? I don't think so. I think that they should express themselves in any way they want. Because if you take the film The Joker, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people thought that that was going to cause people to go off the deep end and get violent and start skipping down the steps and doing all that stuff. And nobody has, right? As far as I know. But people were terrified of that movie because it was so dark and so honest. So when you have art like that, where it's both visual and it tells a story and it evokes an emotion, it moves people to become very reactionary. That's the best kind of art.
Yeah, I
When it
so
makes people think.
I'm a big fan of street art. I feel like that
Hmm.
if you're really going to because nobody sees these $1 million paintings anymore, but they do kind of see the Banksies. They see the
Yeah.
the other guys that get up and really do these big art like the who's the guy that did the Obey? stuff. Shepard Fairey,
Hmm.
he was a prolific guy that would tag and get up, do murals and things like that. Um, I think those now are kind of the new. Hey, we're really putting uh, the world's problems on stage for everyone to see. We're trying
Hmm.
to evoke emotion or something with what we're doing, especially Banksy.
I love his stuff.
He did that whole tour in New York where he literally did an art exhibit on each day, except for one day because he tweeted out like it was really hot because the cops were really looking for him on those days. But he had some moral, some kind of emotion. If you looked at it and you saw it, you could feel from that. Um, I would really like to see. I see they've been doing a lot of these Van Gogh exhibits and things
Hmm.
recently. I think it'd be fun to go see one of those.
The full immersion one.
Yes, yeah, those.
Yeah,
They have a Banksy one here too. I think it was a full immersion Banksy.
I would love to see
Um,
that. There were two Banksies that I really like. There's one where you see a dog on a leash, and then next to him you see a guy with his phone plugged in, and it's just like you see the same leash. You know what I'm saying? Another is when you see two couples, they're embracing, and each of
mhm.
them is looking at their phone behind the person's back.
Oh yeah, I actually have a print of this one. This one I love it just because it's so. When you see it, you know what it evokes. It's the maid sweeping everything under the rug, basically.
Hmm.
And I really like this piece because it's how most of the world is. We just kind of sweep everything under the rug and try to forget about it. Like
That's true. And somebody is saying that there's static. They hear static.
that's probably from my end. I think it's either my cord on my mic or my headphones.
No, we'll fix that shit.
Yeah, I just unplugged Stiff just a second ago, so it might not be doing it right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
Colin's real
for
name is
me.
Banksy. Maybe Colin's Banksy.
Maybe. Let's see. Good in terms of art is a subjective term to me because art that resonates for one may do nothing for another.
I've always said that about um, what do you call what's the word I'm looking for? I was going to say sexuality as well. So you have some people that define porn as anything with nudity, and I always said that's incorrect because porn is defined it's defined as insertion
Mhm.
and or bodily fluids. Period. End. The rest is just erotica. And then people will come back and be like and say, "Oh no, it's done. It's anything that's done with the intention to titillate." And I'll say, "Well, you can't tell what's going to titillate. Some people are into feet. Some people are into armpits. Some people are into hands. So what are you going to do? Censor everything? What's what's one person's into is another person's just average body part on a summer day."
That's why the Venus de Milo doesn't have any arms because they were jealous of the guns that the Venus de Milo had. So
I guess so, right?
they hacked
Right?
them right off.
There
Women
you
shouldn't
go.
have guns like that. Cut them off. So we actually have some other questions here. Let me see. We've got one here from Torin. Let's get a
Uh-huh.
little workout question. Just did a workout today on my lunch break, 11:45 a.m. to 12:45, 30-minute time frame. What's the longest time you worked out in a gym, determining on the body's condition?
Um, I'll be honest with you. I don't spend a lot of time in the gym. I go, but I'm a big fan of hit and get. So I spend an hour there, maybe in that, and that's a longer workout for me, maybe 45 minutes, 40 minutes. So I'm a big fan of like I think they're called German supersets, or you pick four or five things
Hmm.
and you just go around in a circle. So I will go there with my bags, my water bottle, and I'll bag water bottle thing in front of each thing, kind of like I'm peeing on a machine and calling it mine. And I'm marking my territory. And I will just go around to each thing and not take a rest. If my rest is doing abs in between, and just go, go, go. And I'll do, two body parts and abs in 15, 20 minutes, and then do 20, maybe 30 minutes walking uphill on like a sixth grade, grade 6
Hmm.
incline, and then just get out because I'm busy. I got stuff to do. So big fan of getting everything in as quickly as possible and then getting out. I mean, I don't want to be in a gym all day. So
No, that makes sense.
yeah,
Canada Spaceman says, "I bet you used Buns of Steel's home program."
I used to. Oh my God, what was her name? Tammy Lynn something.
I can look it up right now. Hang on.
Yeah, her name was Tammy something. I used to do Buns of Steel. Yeah, my grandmom and I did it together. Yeah, she was super cute, that girl. I was like, oh, I want to have an ass like her.
Then it was for a while there in the 2000s. It was the Brazilian butt lift videos.
Yeah, I know this was way before 2000s. This is when I was like,
Oh yeah,
a
this is
kid.
87. I see
Yeah,
some
I
of
was
the
a
Buns of
kid.
Steel.
My grandma had the step thing. You step up on the thing. You do the step aerobics.
Yeah, Terry Cole. Yeah.
Oh, Terry, I got it wrong. I thought it was Tammy.
It says stars in this one are Terry Cole and Beverly Darby.
Oh, I got it totally wrong.
April, I will say your outfit today
Yeah.
is very inspiring. Of you should really look at doing this for cosplay one time. Sindel from Mortal Kombat.
Ah!
You may have to get rid of the red hair for this one, maybe a
Uh-huh.
wig, some gray in there, but I think the purple that you have on right now kind of matches with her little gear here. You could
It
do
does. That's
do a
cool.
Sindel cosplay. I think the fans would really enjoy
Mortal
that.
Kombat. That's pretty awesome. Might have to do it.
Let's see. We got some more here in the chat. War Demon, did you read the Shungite book I sent you? He's putting you on the spot tonight.
I did read some of it. So it was an interesting crystal right there of what it does. And I actually looked up another video about what can block EMF radiation. And they did mention shungite. They said it was just not proven yet, but there's a theory that it will work. So very interesting.
I know
thank you for that.
Billy Ray Valentine has a guy on his show, and he makes orgone clothing that's supposed to help with 5G. And he also has this bag that he made. And if you put your phone in it overnight, it's supposed to encapsulate all of the radiation and stuff that it emits. And you don't get any, you can't get any signal while this phone's in the bag. So they say put the phone in the bag overnight and sleep with it so that you're not getting, whenever you don't want that constant bombardment, you put your phone in the bag, set it off to the side. BRV says it works. He said when that phone is in the bag, you can call his phone and it does not work.
It's nothing.
Nothing.
You know what you can also do is put your phone in another room and not sleep with it, and you'll still also not get nothing.
That's true.
Crazy idea. And you can get an alarm clock and put it next to your bed. There's that too.
I had to get used to the light from the alarm clock. That's the only thing about having an alarm clock in the room is that once the room's nice and dark, it's either that green or that slight red glow from the alarm clock. Definitely.
I put a sports bra over it. I have a pink sports bra.
I don't have sports bras.
No, but your fiance does.
Throw my boxers over them or something. There we go.
Uh-huh.
See, I think it's already over. We've got people enjoying it. Now, Canada Spaceman said, no, this planet needs more redheads.
And we're going extinct, allegedly. I don't believe that either. I don't believe that. Was it Tim Glad said, when I first came to Tampa transferring to USF, they just finished the new fitness center, and you could tell the moment you entered that their step aerobics were underway. You could hear the boom, boom, boom of the entire class doing step aerobics on the second floor. Yeah, I'll bet. That was a big thing. I mean, honestly, some of that stuff from back in the day still works. I mean, step aerobics still work. It's still good for you. So remember that crunching thing where you would have that, you lay down, you do the thing, it was supposed to help your neck? That was a good little machine there.
They still exist in some gyms. I will see them in
I wish
some
mine had
little
it.
MMA gyms and stuff like that. You'll find that little curl thing to help assist with the crunches.
Yeah.
I remember the Thigh Master. That was huge. And that's still, I mean, that little thing with all the resistance, that is a great workout for, for those that want to get on the thigh machine.
Your abductors.
Yeah, at the gym. See a lot of women on that one.
You can do it for your chest too, I guess.
The chest
press. That's what started mine.
That would probably work. You could probably chest it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do I do at the gym? Absolutely nothing. No, so when I was going to the gym, April, I enjoyed a lot of the so I've never been big and bulky, so I've always had lean muscle mass. So I was always a fan of like planks and
Mhm.
and rows and things like that. So I've always had kind of stronger glutes and like a thigh area. So my thighs and my butt have always been big. And then my back, like I've always had like the traps here and the back, but never the arms, never the triceps and things like that. Like I didn't get into lifting heavy. I always enjoyed like the wrestling aspect of things, like the muscle endurance portion of that, you know, not
Moving
necessarily
quicker.
getting big, but having functional muscle and the fast twitch muscle being there.
That's
I was a
awesome.
runner and a swimmer.
Oh
You know?
no, that's those are not my sports. I hear you. I admire people who run. So we have a surprise. I think next week we have on a woman who specializes in ET, extraterrestrial. Actually,
That'll be fun.
she has worked for the government, and she fell into that because she has had multiple situations where they have made contact with her, and now she's an advisor to the government and um, people who have extraterrestrial experiences and contacts. So that should be interesting. I met her a couple of weeks ago in a metaphysical class, and she was very interesting to listen to. Very, very educated, very interesting lady.
That's
Um,
awesome. That'll be exciting.
I went in very, very skeptical, and I was just like, okay. And then she's talking, I'm just like, oh wow, this is like interesting. So of course I went up to her and said, will you be on the podcast? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, awesome. So
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, even
hook her
after
right in
her,
there.
the following week we talk aliens, we're bringing on a beauty CEO. Mike
Yeah.
Endersky's going to come on and
Yep.
come join the show, and we're going to talk beauty. And he's got a Slash costume that he wears for Halloween. So
Yeah,
I
he
met
used to he was the CEO for Burt's Bees, right?
CMO for Burt's
CMO.
Bees when they
Okay.
got bought by Clorox. So now he is I want to say he helped open up Bliss Spas. I want to get his company right that he is in, because I believe you said you've used some of
Hmm.
their stuff in the past. Let's see.
I'm using some of their stuff right now. I always use their lip balm. I use their pet wipes for the cat for dander. I use a lot of their stuff.
I have to find him now. Totally unprepared for this.
That's okay.
Let's see. Hear Me Raw. He's the CEO, founder and CEO at Hear Me Raw. So it's a makeup company where they use a lot of raw and organic vegan types of things. On his Instagram, he has a lot of makeup tips and things like that. So he'll be on in 2 weeks
Hmm.
to give you makeup tips and all those types of things.
That should be
Fun.
amazing. I could use some makeup tips. I know we could all do that. And I'm also talking to a few other people, talking about to Laurie, the dream expert, and coming back. Talking to my friend Kristen. She runs a few of the med spas on coming in and giving us some good skincare tips. So we got some good guests in the works. So we'll see how it goes. So I thought you guys would have more questions tonight, more problems to solve.
They're
So
all goofing off in the chat this
I know.
tonight.
What do you just want to see just want to see boobs or something, right? What's up?
There you go. Look at that. And so that dress right there just accentuates everything, April. Uh,
It's a shirt actually. I'm wearing boxer shorts with it.
oh, it's a shirt. I thought it was a dress. Oh,
No,
wow.
if it was a dress, I would, I would go ahead and start the costume with the cosplay.
Look at
So
that.
yeah,
Canada Spaceman says boobs.
boobs.
Everybody's happy.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being on our Patreon. We appreciate it very, very much.
Little
And
porgies.
yeah, boobies definitely. Here. As much as I paid for them, damn it, you should look at them. They're mine. I have the receipt somewhere. So, but anyway, thanks you guys for coming in. It was really nice to see all of you. And somebody Torin says, if there's a WrestleCon event in my hometown in Vegas, will you be there? It depends. If they, if anybody brings me out, yeah, I'll come out to Vegas, definitely. If you guys ask for me, if you ask places for me, it helps. Because if you're requesting me, people are like, they'll look me up and contact me. So it
Well,
helps. Hi.
you made Dark Links' night. He said, I was hoping to hear my story, and now I got to hear April say that she is happy for my penis.
Well, yes, I'm happy that you're still intact, congratulations on that. So, yeah. And Fred, thank you. I briefly saw your email. I will go check. So I've got a coffee delivery. I love when people send me things. It's so awesome. It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
The coffee or the deliveries?
Both, actually. Yeah. Coffee, Amazon gift cards, all of it. It's nice. So it's very, very nice. It makes me feel appreciated. So when people take the time to know you and send things, it's more than just the fact that they're sending things. It means like they're saying, I appreciate what you do. Here's something that I think you will like. So
now, do you have a P.O. box?
I do.
Okay, because I know there was a certain professional wrestler that just recently came out, Deonna Purrazzo. She put on social media, she's like, hey, if you send stuff to my house, I'm going to get rid of it. Like, that's just creepy. Don't send things to my house. Like, I have a place for you to send those things. And I get it, with the thing that happened where the guy was stalking the girl in her house. You don't want that type of information out there and that type of stuff. So definitely you got to be careful.
Yeah, I know. I have a P.O. box. It's been around for a little while. So, and you missed the boob offs with Aaron and I. That's funny. Aaron, actually, I know I miss the flex offs too. He was fun to do that with. I actually talked to him. Well, I talk to him every day. He is doing the Fox News podcast with Tyrus now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So he was just doing it like to help them or to do it a little bit. It turns out the producers really like that team up there. So, he's been a regular guest on there and seems to be doing well. And I think he's going to be it's going to be a thing. So
go ahead. No,
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I saw his NWA stuff and I like the new character work that he's doing on NWA. The interview that he had with the lady that does the interviews there, I can't remember her name, but the down and the up and his mannerisms, like I was that's how you do
May
work.
May, the blonde girl.
Yeah, but that's how you do character work. Like Aaron is getting over, and I talked to the vet earlier today. He's doing what every wrestler dreams. He's getting over and not having to take a bump.
Yeah.
Like it's so good. If you go,
he's had to fight for it though, because a lot of times he'll go in somewhere and they won't let him run with the ball. They have an idea for him, and he has to fight for. He'll say, let me just do my thing. I know how to do my thing, and sometimes people will be like, no, we want you to do this. So, or we want to pair you with this, you know what I mean? Like that's, I mean, not necessarily now, but over time, over history, that's how it is. So, but yeah. Yep.
That is for sure. Cool. Awesome, dude. Well, 31 strong tonight. Thank you everybody for coming on, watching the show.
Yeah.
We're growing and getting bigger each and every week. April's having so much fun. I'm having so much fun. This is great.
Yeah.
Let's keep it up. April, you got some plugs that we need to make here. You want to let everybody know where they can find us?
Yep. You can find all the shows, including all the ones with Aaron, on patreon.com, the A Show, with all our guests. And we appreciate all the support because, we still have hosting fees to pay. So thank you very much. You can see, you can see for 2 weeks, we will run the replays. So you can watch this. You can share it. We love it when you share it. Share it to your Facebook or your Twitter and get everything out there. Last week's episode was far more probably informative than this week's episodes we had on spiritual medium Eva Shakatano. So that one was, tonight we were just kind of playing around and having fun. But you can also see me on patreon.com, April Hunter. You can find me on Instagram, Real April Hunter. Twitter is April Hunter. Where are you, Colin?
You can find me at Colin Weissong on Twitter and Instagram. And tomorrow night, the Ridiculously Random Podcast, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with my good buddy Big Ray, as we do top 5 Bruce Willis movies.
Oh,
it's one I've been pushing for a while since I found out that he's got aphasia. And secret hint for people that listen to the show: Big Ray doesn't watch Bruce Willis movies, so his list is going to be completely fake.
Really?
Yeah, he was very adamant. He's like, dude, I don't watch Bruce Willis movies. Let's not do this. And I'm like, it's Bruce Willis. How have you not? I was like, I will make you a list of 5 movies that I think Ray likes that are Bruce Willis movies.
Wait, what was this? What's the recent superhero one where they're older? Red? Was it called
Red?
Red?
I believe it is. Yeah, I
Okay,
think that one
that's
is
number
Red.
1 right there. Number 1. That's my top pick.
That's a good. That's the thing. Like I started showing him a list.
He was trying to grow an avocado in the beginning. I mean, like there's so much depth and character in that one. You can just feel for him.
I have to watch that. I don't think I've seen.
Really?
I'll have to check it out. Yeah,
Red was good. Red was very good. So weird.
I've got a pretty good list. He's got a lot of movies, a lot that you don't think about, especially when I pulled up the filmography. Bruce Willis is talented, and we're not going to get any more Bruce Willis. He's not dead. It's just the aphasia. He's not going to be acting anymore, and that's terrible.
Wow. Well, he's definitely put some good stuff out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm excited. So I guess everyone tune in next week. We've got the alien person coming on. In 2 weeks, we've got Mike and Dursky coming on. I like alien stuff. Don't get me wrong.
I do too. I do too. I think it's really arrogant if we think that we're the only life form out there. I think that, again, like we talked about last week, we need to know the answers, and if we can't say I don't know, we're working on it. Well, as soon as we find out, we'll let you know. Like we can't do that. So we'll shit on things if we don't have the answer, and we'll say, oh yeah, that's not true, or that's bullshit, or that's a conspiracy theory, or let's debunk that. We'll spend all this time doing all that instead of saying, you know what, maybe we just don't know. When we figure it out, we'll let you know.
That's true. I like the fact of not knowing. Here, Canada Spaceman said, my sister's ex-boyfriend is in Red. He is a guard who gets punched out. So I bet she probably rewinds that clip over and over again and watches.
Fifth Element. You know what? I never saw Fifth Element, but I heard it's really good.
It's a good one.
Is it?
Yeah, it's one of those weird sci-fi movies, but it's got a solid story and the cast is really good.
I might have to watch that. Definitely. Well, thank you all for being here. Really, really appreciate it. See you same time next week. And there you go. Feel free to join me if you want.
Get him in there.
Twitch on Twitch, baby. Twitch on Twitch.
I got my Vaders dancing up and down today. So
there you go. All right, you guys. Thank you. You guys have a great night, and I will see you on the social media realm until next week. Have a lovely one. Mwah.